His weird nose whistle? Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Forget your troubles, come on.
Get healthy, get happy. Get there with Harvard Pilgrim.
The XT5 reviews are in. Get this low mileage lease on this 2018 Cadillac XT5 from around $379 per month.
Here's a great idea. You know that room you want to redo? Make it fresh and beautiful in just 3 days, guaranteed. Enjoy store-wide savings during the home makeover sale at Raymore and Flanagan. Save up to 23% on living, dining, and bedrooms. Save up to $1,000 on select mattress sets. And queen adjustable bases start at just $399 with 0% APR for an incredible 60 months. The home makeover sale only at Raymore and Flanagan.
Dear Connecticut Honda dealer, thanks for helping me have the best camping trip ever. I drove my new HRV, and my friends drove their CRV and Pilot. With all-wheel drive, we got way off the grid. We had room to pack so much gear. I even slept in my HRV. I had some issues setting up the tent.
Explore any road in 2018's best SUV brand. Right now, get the all-wheel drive 8-passenger Pilot with 0-9 financing up to 60 months.
Don't settle for less than a Honda. We didn't.
See your Connecticut Honda dealer today.
We won't attempt to talk you out of your current car. A test drive will do the talking for us. The Volkswagen Drive to Decide event. Get a Volkswagen with America's best 6-year, 72,000-mile limited warranty. Right now, you can lease a value-packed 2018 Tiguan S for just $189 a month or get a $1,000 bonus.
Keeping America running is what you do. Knowing what your business needs is what we do. That's why you can count on Grainger, America's trusted source for industrial supplies and safety products, to help you build it, fix it, clean it, and maintain it. Because when it comes to keeping your business running, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When it comes to your vacation, you're prepared. But how about preparing your will or setting up a trust? Need a little help? Sapega, Dilly, Pope, and Perry. It's time to start planning today for your tomorrow.
On the CBS Evening News this Monday from Kansas City, CBS News has learned the Saudis are ready to admit they killed journalist Jamal Khashoggi in an interrogation that went wrong. The first flu-related death of the season. And we talked to Missouri voters who could help decide control of the U.S. Senate. But first, the headlines in 60 seconds.
Saudi leadership is prepared to essentially say that Jamal Khashoggi was murdered by accident.
Earlier today, President Trump repeatedly touted the Saudi king's denials.
Maybe these could have been rogue killers. Who knows?
President Trump and the First Lady visiting areas that were devastated by Hurricane Michael.
To see this personally, it's very tough. Very, very tough.
Senator Elizabeth Warren releasing DNA test results to back up her claims of Native American heritage.
The report indicates that Senator Warren's Native American ancestor is between 6 and 10 generations back.
Once one of the nation's largest retailers, Sears has filed for bankruptcy. It's the end of an era.
A NASA unit is searching to discover the true extent of climate change.
The Antarctic ice sheet is discharging more than 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of ice into the ocean every second.
Another royal on the way.
Meghan and Harry expecting their first baby this coming spring.
That little one will be 7th in line to the throne. My guess is she's going to have either a boy or a girl, and when she does, that she will give that person a name.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Glor in Kansas City, and this is the National World War I Museum and Memorial. This year is the 100th anniversary of the end of what was once called the War to End All Wars. We have come to Missouri as part of our special coverage of races that will decide control of the U.S. Senate in the midterms next month. We're going to have much more on that soon. But we're going to begin tonight with breaking news in the disappearance nearly 2 weeks ago of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. CBS News has learned tonight the Saudis are ready to reveal what happened to him. Major Garrett is at the White House with more.
President Trump emerged from a 20-minute call with Saudi King Salman and echoed the kingdom's denial of responsibility for the suspected death of U.S.-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
All I can do is report what he told me, and he told me in a very firm way that they had no knowledge of it.
Mr. Trump also raised this possible explanation.
It sounded to me like maybe these could have been rogue killers.
That theory has not been embraced by Saudi leadership, who CBS News has learned is preparing to admit that Khashoggi's death was the result of an interrogation gone wrong. Khashoggi, a Washington Post contributor and outspoken critic of the Saudi regime, entered the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey on October 2nd, but has not been seen since. The Saudis have insisted he left on his own. At the president's direction, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo flew to Riyadh today for meetings with the royal family.
He's got instructions to find out what happened.
He may next head to Turkey, where investigators today searched the consulate, part of a Turkish-Saudi inquiry into the disappearance. The president told Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes his relationship to the kingdom might change if Khashoggi's death is confirmed.
We're going to get to the bottom of it, and there will be severe punishment.
But the president said he would not end a $110 billion Saudi arms deal.
Boeing, Lockheed, Raytheon, all these I don't want to hurt jobs.
Former acting CIA director and CBS contributor Michael Morrell.
I think if the Saudis were involved in this, you will see some delay in arms sales, despite what the president says.
The Khashoggi saga has jeopardized foreign investment in the kingdom and raised the real possibility of U.S. sanctions. According to sources, the emerging, and that's a key word, emerging Saudi explanation is the government meant only to interrogate the journalist, not kill him, and that those responsible were initially reluctant to admit their deadly blunder. It is unclear if this account will defuse the crisis or satisfy the kingdom's many human rights skeptics. Jeff?
All right, Major, with the latest on that emerging explanation, as you say. The president flew to the Florida Panhandle today to see for himself the devastation from Hurricane Michael. 5 days after the storm hit, the search for victims continues, and the recovery is just beginning. Omar Villafranca reports on this.
President Trump surveyed the damage from the air and on the ground, getting his first look at homes reduced to rubble by the storm.
To see this personally, it's very tough.
The president and First Lady Melania Trump met Lynnhaven resident Michael Rollins, who rode out the storm with his 3 dogs.
I did not know force of nature could be this bad.
Yeah, this one you could have passed on, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Power crews have been working sun up to sundown to try and restore electricity to the tens of thousands of people in the hardest hit areas. The lines are long for gas in Panama City, but 5 days after the storm slammed into the Florida Panhandle, patience is running thin.
They telling us to go to shelters. People ain't got cars. People ain't got gas to get to shelters.
As search crews continue working, a body was pulled from a swamp down the coast in Cape San Blas.
Nothing like this.
Mark Moore and Tony Beck say they tried to get the man to evacuate with them, but he stayed behind.
Did you talk to him?
Spoke to him personally.
What did you tell him?
I told him he was out of his mind.
If he
that
stayed.
he needed to go, and if he needed somewhere to go, he could follow us to where we were going.
You offered him a seat?
Offered him.
A seat in the car?
Yes, yes.
Mexico Beach police compiled the list of 230 people who said they were going to ride out the storm at their home. After that storm, search crews started going through homes, house to house, like this one here, even searching piles of debris like this one here. And because cell phone coverage slightly increased, allowing people to call friends and family, they've been able to whittle that number down to 3 people unaccounted for. Jeff?
Omar, thanks. Slight increase, but still a long way to go. The midterm elections are 3 weeks from tomorrow. With control of Congress hanging in the balance. We have been visiting key battleground states, Arizona last week, this week here in Missouri. A CBS News poll shows Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill locked in a tight battle with Republican Josh Hawley, each at 45%. We have been traveling this state talking to voters and candidates in this very closely watched election.
It's nasty, it's dirty, it's unfair, but you know what? It's worth it.
That is the sound of Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill fighting for her political life. She is a 65-year-old, two-term Democrat in a state the president won in 2016 by nearly 20 points.
How does Claire McCaskill get things done for Missouri?
McCaskill did vote nearly half the time in support of President Trump's agenda. She hasn't kept it secret.
I don't do a knee-jerk opposition to the president. I try to figure out each nomination and each policy position based on the merits, and then I have to explain it to Missourians.
But would you call his presidency a success?
I think it's a work in progress, and I think that's up to voters.
This election is about saving our country.
McCaskill's opponent, Josh Hawley, says she hasn't voted with the president on anything that matters.
Senator McCaskill and her Democrat allies have a radical left-wing agenda.
Hawley is the state's attorney general, a 38-year-old Yale Law School graduate who once clerked for Chief Justice John Roberts. He's a conservative who has hooked himself to the president, and he hopes to the voters who put him in the White House.
They did that because he said he would go out and fight for our values and the things we believe in. I think he's doing that. And so long as he's doing that, I'm going to be for him.
Is there anything you disagree with him?
Well, I would say that, look, I would encourage him to keep a hard line on spending. I think the way that Congress has forced this outrageous spending on him is something that is not good.
Half of Missouri voters are satisfied with the way things are going in the country. The other half are not. McCaskill leads among women. Hawley is ahead among men. One of the key issues here has been health care, and as a result, the attacks have been brutal. Some of the voters we met don't like it.
It just seems like they're attacking each other, and I'm not getting real answers on the stance.
That kind of muddies the water for me, because you don't know what to believe and what not to believe.
They are really mad. In fact, they're hopping mad about prescription drug price increases. They are frustrated at the idea that their protections for pre-existing conditions and the other consumer protections that are in the law now are in jeopardy.
All right, step up, step up, step up.
Hawley, whose young son suffers from a degenerative bone disease, opposes Obamacare, but says he still wants insurance companies to cover people with pre-existing conditions.
The federal government should directly guarantee that folks who have a pre-existing condition get rates, premiums, deductibles at the same as everybody else.
That's still mandating that people have coverage, right?
No. It just says that those who have pre-existing conditions should be able to buy insurance at the same rates and prices as everybody else.
On the Brett Kavanaugh battle, Hawley says he would have voted for. McCaskill voted against.
The last thing in the world we need is the Supreme Court to be a reflection of what Congress has become, tribal warfare.
Was it tribal warfare in politics when you were first elected?
Not as much. All of the noise is generated on the ends of the spectrum. We need more noise in the middle.
Senator McCaskill says you don't use the word compromise. If you go to Washington, can you compromise?
Sure. I think it's about representing the people of your state. So you've got to be willing to cross party lines. You've got to be willing to be independent. I'll work with anybody on any topic if it's good for the people of my state.
McCaskill versus Hawley here in Missouri. Republicans have a slim 51-49 majority in the Senate, so every seat is critical, including this one here. Nancy Cordes is our chief